Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how the login feature works inside Glide. Now this is a feature that is a little bit complicated to explain and demonstrate. However, once you understand how this works, you're going to be able to create some really advanced apps. You're going to be able to filter your pages on the app based on the user that's logged in, and therefore automatically and dynamically update all the information that is displayed on the app based on the user that's logged in. For example, when you go on a website, right, and there is you have an account on a specific website, when you log into that account, the information you see is very different to information of another user. So this is the functionality we're trying to achieve here. And in order to demonstrate this, I'm going to start very simple. I'm just going to create a new tab, right, or a page, whatever you like to call it, and I'm going to call it users or user. Now, what we need to do is go to our spreadsheet here, and we need to create a new sheet and call it users. This is the sheet where we're going to store all the user information. Now, I will need the user's name, the user's email, and the date created. This is going to be the date they created their account. Actually, no, let's not confuse you. Let's just stick with name and email. Now, what I'm also going to do is create some fake accounts, right? So I'm going to create an account for myself. Then I'm going to create another account for a user called Sam. Right? That should be enough. Now let's go and refresh our sheet here, and let's go to user. Now what we need to do is, of course, set the source of data for this page to be users, because we want to get data from that page. And as you can see, we're getting those two records, right? We're getting the two users. Now this is not useful in any way, because what's the point? You know, if I'm a user, you know, and I log into this app, I don't want to see the information of every single user of the app. I want to see the information that's related to my account, to myself, right? So what we need to do, first of all, is create a way for the app to know which user is logged in, right? So the way we're going to do that is by changing the sign in method for the app. So if we go to settings and then sign in here, this is the method that you can sign into the app. So currently the method is set to public. What this means is that anyone can have access to the app. Anyone can open the app and can see every single page on the app. There's no restrictions basically, right? And we don't want that, because we want to set up like a login feature where we can have a user enter their email in order to log into the app. And the way we're going to do this is by changing this to public with email. What this is going to do, when the user visits the app, right, when they open the app, they're going to get this page first, right? Here, they're going to have to enter their email address. And once they enter their email address, they will receive a verification code in their inbox, which they will then have to enter here and click continue in order to log into the app. Now, once they do that, what that means for us is that when a user goes through that sign-in process, the app is going to know what email they used to sign in. And that email is going to be stored somewhere in the app. And what we can do then is filter the information on this page based on the user that is signed in, right? I hope this makes sense so far. I'm trying to explain it in the simplest way possible. We're going to be able to, once the user signs in, we're going to be able to know what email they used to sign in, and therefore we can then filter the information on this page. And the way we're going to do that is by going to features, and here where it says filter, we need to filter based on the email, and we need to make sure that the email is the signed in user. Now, if I click on this, let's reload, nothing should happen, right? It's an empty page. And the reason it's an empty page is because at the moment, I'm not logged in as any user, or I'm actually logged in as the this email right here. So you see dmtutorialvideos@gmail. But as you can see here in my records, that email is not here, right? So that's the reason you see nothing here, because I'm logged in as this user right now, but this user does not have an account, right? So that's the reason you don't see anything. But look what's gonna happen when I preview as, I'm gonna copy this email right here. When I preview the app as this user, as you can see, the record comes up for this specific user. Now, what this means, guys, preview as, it basically means that where we want to show the information on the app as if this user is logged in, right? This basically simulates a login, right? So basically it translates to logged in as this user right here. And as you can see, the information we get here is for this specific user, right? We don't get the other user because we are logged in as this user, and we're filtering the information on this page based on the email of the user that is signed in. I hope this makes sense. So now, if I change this to SAM test, the record that should appear here should be the other one. So the SAM test. There we go. So this is how we filter the information on the page based on the user that is signed in. And with this concept, there's so much we can do. So now, let's go to layout and let's change this. Let's change the style to details, right? Because now we're going to be able to add any component we want instead of having this list component. So what we can do now, as you can see, we get the name. And the component we have here is the title. Let me just remove that. Let's add a new component, basic text, right? Actually, no, let me go with the rich text. And the data we're getting is the email, right? Because the column we have selected is email. So we're getting this data right here. Let's get the name, right? And then let's add another rich text and let's get the email, right? So now we have the name and the email. Now, if we log in as SAM test, we should get SAM on the top and SAM test on the bottom. There we go, right? So this is a very basic demonstration of how this works, guys. Now, let's take this a step further now. So now what we need to do is actually make this work by itself. And what I mean by that, if you remember at the beginning, I actually added this test data right here, right? I went in and I added this manually. But when in real life, when I'm sharing this app with real users, I'm not going to know this information. I'm not going to know their name. I'm not going to know their email. This record needs to be created automatically by the user, right? So the way we're going to do this, first of all, we are able to get their email because that's the method of signing in. When they enter their email on the login screen here, the app will know their email. So the next thing we need to do is create a form to capture some more data about the user, right? So we're going to go here and we're going to create a new form, right? So form button, and I'm going to call this, in reality, you can actually call this create account. I don't like using that definition because accounts don't really exist in Glide. It's more like filtering information, filtering information based on the user that's signed in. It's not really accounts, but you can refer them to as accounts. I'm just trying to find the best way to explain this to you so you don't get confused. Let's just call it accounts. Okay, it's fine. And what we want to do here is we want to ask some for some information that the user is going to enter, and this information is going to go on the user's sheet. Now, the most easy thing to ask for is their name, right? We're going to ask for their name. They're going to enter their name here. But then the email, we shouldn't ask that, because what we can do is actually go here and use the special value user's email. Now, this is so important. What this is going to do is going to identify the email that the user is signed in with, right? The email that they used on the sign in screen here. It's going to identify that email, and we're able to use that email to create a record, right? We're able to pass that email to the email field right here, right? So essentially, we're going to be creating an account for the user. We're going to be creating a row on the spreadsheet for this user, right? And this row is going to consist of the name that they're going to enter right here. And it's also going to consist of the email, which is going to be the email they're currently signed in with, right? Now, if you think ahead of time right now, you can understand that the next time that the user logs into the app using the same email, right, that they used to create this record with, we're going to be able to search the data here, identify the row that has that email present, and therefore find the data for that user, right? This is how data is filtered. This is how we can create accounts for users, right? I hope that makes sense. So here now, if I enter, let's enter another name, so James. Now, I'm currently signed in with this email, so I need to actually remove this. Yeah, so create. So now, guys, I'm signed in with this email right here. You see that faded email, dimitritutorialvideos@gmail.com. So what this should do, once I enter my email, my name here, and I click submit, it should create a new row on the spreadsheet here with my name, and then the email that I showed you a second ago. So let's just, I'm just gonna put Dimitris2, submit. As you can see, it has already identified my the name I entered, and also the email that I'm signed in with, because remember, we have the rich text here which pulls that data. But the most important thing is to check the database. As you can see, there we go. And because I am signed in with that email, it's able to pull that data from the spreadsheet and add it to these components right here. I really hope this makes sense, guys. It's the easiest way I can explain this. But I don't blame you if you're overwhelmed at this point or a little bit confused. You know, it takes a little bit of practice and rewatching this video a few times until you fully understand how this works. But once you understand it, there's so many things you can do, and so many different apps you can create. Now what I want to do next is actually show you this app live, right? So currently we're testing everything in the preview mode. I want to actually show you everything on the actual app. So we're going to publish this app. In order to publish an app, you go to share and then publish, and you're going to get an app link, right? I'm going to call this news app. I hope that's available. No, it's not. Dimi news app. Okay, copy. So I'm going to copy that link, and let's create a new tab here. So here is the app, guys. Now, let me also find a temporary email. So here we can get a temporary email. So there we go, copy that. Let's enter it here. So now it has sent a verification pin to our email. So let's go to our email and see. It shouldn't take long, only a few seconds. There we go. So we have received a pin. There we go. So we copy that pin and paste it in our app here. Sign in. So guys, now what happened is we are signed into the app using that email. Now, if we go to users, there's nothing this. Remember, let's go back to our app. So we have two rich texts here, right? We have a rich text which displays the name of the user, and then a rich text which displays the email of the user. However, at the moment, we do not have a record on our spreadsheet here for the user we are signed in with, right? So we signed in using, where is it? So we signed in using this email right here. However, there's no record yet for that email. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna create an account, then we're gonna name this user Mike, submit, and as you can see, it has now created a new record with the email and the name of the user, and we also get the information here. So this is how it works, guys. And then there's so much you can do. Like, you can keep asking the user for more information, you know, and essentially you're gonna treat every row on this sheet as the user's account, right? Here you can also have more, you can have more stuff. So you can have, I don't know, like job title, you know, you can have age, you know, there's everything. There's so much data you can ask the user for, but obviously the user needs to enter that data for you. And the way they can enter that data is through a form. So here we can edit this form now, and we can make it, we can have a, let's see. So yeah, new columns have been detected because now we have the age and job title. So now we need to edit our form and add a text entry, which is going to be the job title, and this is going to be assigned to the job title column. And then if we have a, let's see, we do have a number entry. This should be the age, right? And this is assigned to the age column. So there we go. So now, when a new user signs into our app and they create their account, they're going to be able to enter their name, the job title, and age. Now, you might be wondering, okay, but how does this user edit that information? How can this user right here enter their age and their job title since they already created their account? The way we're going to do that is by going here, edit, and allow users to edit. And now if I think we need to refresh. Edit. Oh, sorry. Yeah. So what we need to do is here we need to add more components. So we need to add the where is it? The text entry, which is going to be the job title, and we also need to add the number entry, which is going to be the age. So now I can enter here web developer, and age I can enter 35. Done. Right? So now this data should be under the spreadsheet here. There we go. Right, guys? So this is how you work with data, and this is how you work with accounts, essentially. These are not really accounts. It's just like, it's being able to filter data based on specific parameters and specific rules, you know. So yeah, guys, I really hope in this video I was able to explain and break down this feature, you know, which I know might be a little bit overwhelming, a little bit confusing for some of you. Feel free to watch this video again in order to better understand it, and it's going to take practice. You know, try to create your own app. Start with a simple page, right, like this one. Try to create a simple, first of all, you have to obviously set up your app so it accepts, it allows users to only access the app when they enter their email, and then try to create a page where you can ask the user who is signed in to enter more information and therefore create a record for them on your spreadsheet, and then filter the data on the page based on the user that is signed in. And once you're able to do that, then there's so many extensions and so many things you can do after this in order to further develop your app and achieve some really nice functionalities. So this is it for this video, guys. I hope that through this video series I was able to give you a good introduction to Glide so you can start creating your own apps. I'm also planning on creating a full course for Glide, which is going to feature some more advanced tutorials for anyone who wants to take their app creation skills to the next level. It is also going to feature some video series where I'm going to show you how to create specific apps that you request. So if you're interested in getting early access to the course as well as access to my private community that I'm going to set up, click the link below in the description of this video. Other than that, guys, let me know in the comments below if you have any questions, any video suggestions of things you would like to see. Also, don't forget to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe to my channel if you want to see more tutorials, more videos like this one, and more projects that I have coming out soon. Thank you so much for watching.